In this video, we're going to be discussing the new single assessment framework. So what's changed and what's remained the same. We are retaining the 5 key questions. So is it safe, effective, caring, responsive, and well-led? So we'll also retain the 4-point rating system. So is the service inadequate? Does it require improvement? Is it good? Or is the service outstanding? So the care service will now be assessed based on what we call quality statements, and these will actually replace what we had previously, which were the CLOEs. What are quality statements? So in CQC's own words, quality statements are the commitment that providers, commissioners, and system leaders should live up to, expressed as we statements. They show what is needed to deliver high quality, person-centered care. As part of the new single assessment framework, the way that evidence is going to be gathered is going to be both on-site and off-site. So when your inspector's on-site, they'll be gathering information, and when they're off-site, they may be contacting third parties just to gain some additional information to bring together your rating. So as part of this single assessment framework, there are now 6 evidence categories. The evidence categories actually set out the type of evidence that CQC will use to determine 2 things. The first thing is the quality of care being delivered. The second thing is the performance against each quality statement. What is the first evidence category? This is people's experience of health and care services. So CQC describes this as a person's needs, expectations, lived experience and satisfaction with their care, support and treatment. This includes access to and transfers between services. Some of the examples of this particular evidence category could be phone calls, emails, and even surveys that have been received by CQC. Evidence category 2 is feedback from staff and leaders. Examples of evidence for this particular evidence category could be feedback surveys, it could be interviews with your staff as well as interviews with leaders within the business. The third evidence category would be feedback from partners. Partners would include commissioners, other care providers that are local to you, as well as multi-agency bodies. Evidence category 4, this would be observations. As you know, most observations will be carried out by a CQC inspector, which is on site. Or if it's not a CQC inspector, it might be a specialist professional advisor. Evidence category 5 would be processes. So CQC describes this as processes are the series of steps, arrangements, or activities that a provider or organization carries out to deliver safe care that meets people's needs. So examples would be findings and learnings from safety incidents. So this could be your lessons learned. It could be caseload reviews of people's care or clinical records. It could be results from audits that any provider has brought out, or it could be results from audits that you may have undertaken. Evidence category 6, this would be outcomes. CQC describes this as outcomes are focused on the impact of care processes on individuals. They cover how care has affected people's physical, functional, or psychological status. Examples of outcomes, this could be infection control rates, mortality rates, or emergency admission or readmission rates into hospital. There are 3 key differences from the previous model, which include gathering evidence, frequency of assessments, and assessing quality. In terms of gathering evidence, CQC isn't only going to be looking at data that they get from being on site, they're also going to be looking and listening to people's experiences. This will in turn actually help them gain an overall view and perspective on your service that's much clearer than what it would have been just purely from a site inspection. In terms of frequency of assessment, so CQC isn't going to assess you purely based off your rating, and they are going to be doing inspections because of information or evidence that's been brought forward to them about your particular service, regardless of any rating that's currently in place. In terms of assessing quality, CQC have said that they are going to be assessing quality a lot more often, and it won't just be because of an inspection. What are the levels of ratings? So for adult social care services, there's level 1 and level 2. So from CQC's own words, level 1 is a rating for every key question at service level. For example, a rating for how safe a care home is or how effective the surgery service at a hospital is. And level 2 is an aggregated overall rating for the service. For example, the rating for a care home or the surgery service at a hospital. If you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, and press the notification bell so that you are notified anytime we upload a new video. We'll catch you soon.